came about. There's a video out there where I took Nita to Jason Becker's house and I surprised her. And I wish there was another video that showed you all the behind the scenes stuff of how that happened because it's pretty crazy. And there's so much involved in that just getting her up there and how it all happened. But after we left there, I was very moved. Were very moved.
Yeah.
It's uh, it's just different energy when you're in the room with him. So we went back home, and I was just thinking of like, man, it would be cool if there were ways to get Jason's name out there and help him out more. And I had this idea of like, hey, what if we grab maybe he has music that he hasn't released, and maybe we could do something with it. So I contacted these people, they were cool with it. We went back up, and then I kind of sifted through a bunch of stuff, a bunch of different music that I thought would speak to Nita because I know her style and that kind of stuff. So then I don't know, I had grabbed like 10 ideas. We went home, and we kind of had this thing kick around. It took a long time to put this thing together. Just life gets in the way
Hmm.
and just a lot of different things happen. So when we finally landed, it was supposed to be a song for the record. And then we decided, you know what, Nina was like, let's just do this just for him and let's just give all the proceeds to him. Because then it gets messy. It's in the record and this and that. It's just like, let's just separate it, have it all for him. And so I let her, I was like, cool, go through the songs and see what sticks out. And so we landed on this one, which was, you know, tell the backstory on that one.
Yeah, it was a demo of Jason's that he had originally written for the David Lee Roth, The Little Ain't Enough sessions. And it was him and the Bissonette brothers, which is really, really cool to hear on the demo. So we just took that demo and polished it up a little bit. You know, it was just recorded live in a room together. So we polished it up. Josh replayed all the drums. We had Billy Sheehan come in and retract the bass, and I replayed all the rhythm guitars. And then we just started reaching out to some of Jason's friends and peers and some of the newer generation of players that admires Jason so much. And we were able to create this really, really cool track and just really, gave it to him to release as he saw fit. You know, he decided he wanted to do it on YouTube first with the video of everybody. And I think eventually it'll come out on streaming services and to purchase as a standalone single. And hopefully it just helps bring a lot of people's awareness to Jason and the Jason Becker Special Needs Trust and does a lot of good for him.
Absolutely. Fantastic cause, fantastic song as well. And drop some names for the guitarists. I mean, who did you get involved with this?
Oh, we got the incredible Steve Vai, Paul Gilbert, some of his shrapnel label mates in Marty Friedman and Jennifer Batten, newer talents like Angel Vivaldi, Neely Brosh, Larry Basilio. The list goes on and on. There were so
Zach,
many people.
Zach Wild.
Zach
Yeah.
Wild, yeah, Richie Kotzen, Alex Skolnick, yeah, so many incredible players.
Fantastic and a fantastic song indeed. So thank you so much for telling us all about that. That's great. And you mentioned a couple of people there and Steve Vai. Something you did recently, Nita, was the G3 where you played with Steve Vai and Satriani and Eric Johnson and Kenny Aronoff and I'm probably forgetting some other people as well. But how was that for an experience?
Oh, it was awesome. You know, as a guitar fan, first and foremost, I've gone to so many of these shows, the G3s and Generation X and all of that. So it was just such a thrill to get to stand up there, with that amazing rhythm section of Brian Beller and Kenny Aronoff and Jason Richardson, my friend, who's just like one of the most phenomenal players out there today. And then the original G3 trifecta of Steve Vai and Satriani and Eric Johnson. It's just like, it was a very pinch me moment of like, wow, why me? And just really, really enjoyed it.
And how did that
And
come? Oh, sorry, carry on.
I was gonna say, let me add to that because like, we've been together for a long time and I know Nita very, very well, obviously. Um, when I just see her up there in that opportunity, it made me, kind of emotional of just like knowing that like, wow, like here's somebody, like there's the guy sitting standing next to her playing. This is the person that influenced her to pick up the guitar, And then she's playing with another guy that she picked up his records later on, Joe Satriani, and influenced her to continue that journey, And here she is sitting as a peer. To me, my head goes very deep into that kind of stuff. So just watching that to me was just so moving because I'm like, man, look how cool that is. It's somebody that's like, she's living her dream. to the fullest.
That's
How
right.
awesome is that?
Such a
So
proud moment for both of you. Incredible stuff. Incredible. And you mentioned there, obviously, being inspired to pick up the guitar. Now, so many people that I speak to, their light bulb moment was the Ed Sullivan Show with the Beatles. Now, obviously, both of you are far too young for that, but your light bulb moment was Steve Vai and Crossroads, wasn't it?
It was indeed, yes.
So, what was it about that film and that scene in particular that made you think, wow, that's what I want to do?
I was just so struck by Steve Vai's perfect blend of technique and style in that, like he was playing the coolest stuff, the most complicated, intricate parts, but it looked like fun. It looked exciting. He had charisma and stage presence, and it made me want to exude that same kind of like charisma and stage presence when I went out there and did it in front of people. So I think to this day, I'm still just a Jack Butler wannabe.
Fantastic. And I've got some questions as well from subscribers that have been in touch. And Marissa Wolf asked one. She says, well, first of all, you're badass, Nita. I love you. She wanted to know when you started playing guitar and who was the person that taught you, who gave you the inspiration?
I started playing at 13, and the person that taught me my first few chords was actually my dad. My dad is a musician, was a touring musician for many years. So that was the biggest inspiration for me because I grew up with somebody that was in the industry, even though he wasn't touring, by that time he had settled down to, normal family life, but still growing up with that influence around was my first big influence.
And what about yourself, Josh? Because obviously you're a drummer. Who inspired you to pick up the drums and when did you start?
Lars Ulrich. I went to see Metallica, Guns N' Roses when I was 9 years old.
Oh, wow.
Saw that show and I said, that's what I want to do. So I was already into Metallica. I got into music, heavy music at a really young age. My cousin at the time was 18. I was like 4 or 5. And he was kind of like, you want to be cool, hang out with me. So we go over there. He'd bring me in his room. He'd put on wrestling and he'd make me listen to metal. First bands I got into were like Chili Peppers, Danzig, Metallica, stuff like that. So I started really getting into it, watching Headbangers Ball at a really young age, recording stuff on VHS, and then rewatching it. And I'd sit on my knees and had somebody left drumsticks in my house for some reason. So I'd sit there and watch what was happening. And I cut these little pieces of cardboard out for each drum that
Wow.
Lars had. So I was just like, okay, he does this, and I rewind and start trying to learn how to play. Then when I saw them play at the Superdome in New Orleans, I was like, that's what I want to do. And I'm a product of that. I use Tama. I'm Tama artist. Lars uses Tama. Use Zildjian. Same thing. It worked on me. She's a product of that too.
Yes.
Steve Ibanez.
Ibanez, yeah,
Hey,
of
the
course.
marketing works.